Some things just go together. Wine and cheese, flowers in springtime, and yes, books and bottles. We pair your favorite author with your favorite drink. Your host of Books and Bottles, Benita Johnson.
Hi, welcome to Books and Bottles. I'm your host, Benita Johnson. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. This is your show where we introduce you to your favorite author and we pair his or her work with your favorite wine. If this is your first time, you're in for a treat. Tonight we have some wonderful guests. Again, this is a ladies only night, right? So we got a female author and a female spirit, a wine representative. And if you've been with us before, we appreciate you for coming back. But either way, please share because we're going to introduce you to some fun folks. So my guest today is like my sister from another mister. She's from Richmond, just like I am. And this is not our first time working together in media. So I'd like to introduce you to author Miss Terry Thomas.
Hi.
Hey, Terry, aka
Hey,
Sweet
Benita.
Tea. We'll talk about that sweet tea thing later.
Yeah, a little bit later.
So thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm so excited.
Good. So this is our third season. And so this is the first year that we've had children's books on, and we've had a lot of children's authors. So you are in great company.
Oh, good.
So the name of your books, you have two, right?
I have two.
The First Day of School, Jamaica's New Experience, and Jamaica Wants to Know, Will You Still Love Me? So congratulations on writing two books. So what made you decide you want to be an author?
Well, as I thought about this, I think back when I was in high school, I started writing a little bit, but never thought of it as being like really an author. I had two poems published in our senior yearbook that I had just written. And then as things kind of hit me through societal things going on in the world, I just kind of sit down and write about them. So I started thinking, how does it look through the eyes of a child? Because I work with children, and some days I call them that. But yes, I've worked with children for over 30 years. So as the world really started changing in 2020, and everybody was sort of losing their mind, I just wanted to explore a little bit. Well, we all had free time because we weren't going anywhere. And so I just had a lot of thoughts going through my head. And I said, okay, maybe I should really write this down and put it in book form, looking at the world through the eyes of a child. Then my bestie, Benita, you gave me the idea. You started talking about books and everything. And, you actually sort of turned me on to the publisher. So I was very excited. And, as I kind of wrote the rough drafts and everything, a lot of my friends were encouraging me, oh, go ahead, get it published. So I did.
It's really important. And as, especially, I mentioned this on another show. We had another friend of mine who wrote a children's book. I homeschool my boys. They're adults now. So let's say 15 years ago, I started that. And there weren't as many books that had characters with children who look like them. And so as an educator, better than I do, how challenging it is to get boys to read. And so, we want them to read things that, and they kind of gravitate when the subject matter is about them, and even more when the characters look like them.
Right.
Yeah. So have you found that, I know you're an educator and I'm familiar with your school. I am on the board of that school or something like that. But, have you found that writing books with characters that look like a lot of the students that your population, it encourages them to want to read?
Yes, I've noticed that because some of them have actually read the book,
Mhm.
and and then they liked it, and like you said, they found it relevant to their
Yeah.
lives. And I should mention, when I worked with preschoolers one time, I wrote a little small book, and I actually got permission, and I used the children actual pictures in the book
Okay.
that I wrote about, because and I think, like I said, sometimes the ideas come to me as is relevant to the children that I'm working with at that time. And at that time I was working with preschoolers, and sometimes they have trouble making friends. And so I love the little ones, the very little ones. And so I just sort of wrote a book about making friends and what my friends would look like. So that was the title of the book. I was Miss Quick then. So it
Oh,
was,
okay.
yes, then. So the title was Miss Quick's Friends. And
Okay.
so, actually, and so the children loved it because, like you say, once again, they saw themselves represented in a book. And of course, everyone, looked like they did.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, so much of a caricature of, some unknown person. It was actually someone that they could point to every day.
Yeah. That
So,
makes a difference. So
yeah.
the first was the your first book, the first day of school, Jamaica's New Experience.
Yes. Yes, that
Okay.
was the first one actually published by an outside person,
Okay.
well, outside publisher, I should say.
Okay.
Yes.
Because that is a scary time. I remember my first day of school, and it was like, I mean, I'm talking about like daycare, and I remember crying
Right.
on the bus because it's like you being taken away from the people that you know and you trust.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this little spin on Jamaica's first day of school, of course, happened during the pandemic. And so it sort of went in the reverse, because it starts out with Jamaica already being in school.
Okay.
And she was just in first grade, but being, I shouldn't say snatched out, but being taken out of school and not really knowing what happened. Like one day you're there with your friends and learning, and then
Yeah.
the next day you're like told you can't go back. And so it kind of takes you through Jamaica's journey of how was she seeing the world changing with school during the pandemic.
You
And
know,
then,
that's a definitely a different perspective because I never thought about that. Like
mhm,
how young people, I
right.
mean, that was a major change. You were in school and you're used to seeing your friends every day, and now
Can't go.
you can't go back. And you can't even
Right.
play with your friends. You're like
Can't even do
stuck
anything.
in
Yeah.
your bubble.
And then it kind of ends with Jamaica being, it takes her like through the whole, I guess, what, year almost.
Yeah.
And then when it's time to go back to school, she's all excited. But then at the end, I'll tell the end because it's a children's book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still gonna get it. We still gotta buy it for these
You
kids.
still got that. But and then as she's all excited, about going back to school, well, mom makes this decision to keep her at home and keep her
Wow.
on virtual learning. So it's, yeah.
Wow. All right. And so the second book,
My
published book,
yes, this
Jamaica
second
wants
published
to know,
book,
will you still
You
love me?
Love
What
Me.
happened in Jamaica's life that she's
This is
questioning that?
this is very, I would say, during these times, my first idea was to send it to Ron DeSantis. Because it's actually dealing with I did. I was gonna mail him a copy. Um, because it's actually dealing with young children. Like I said, I've worked with children for over 30 years. And children always have a little curiosity about boy, girl. You
Mm-hmm.
actually see it when they're 4 or 5 years old, what body parts does a boy have? What, body parts do a girl have? What does
Mm-hmm.
a boy like to play with? What does a girl like to play with? And you start to see like the influence of adults
Mm-hmm.
on what children sort of like. So, Will You Still Love Me came from the idea of when all this transgender in school um, mess started up, basically. And I was like, well, how about, are you ever thinking about how young a child might be when they're thinking about not necessarily changing who they
Like
are,
just differences.
just right differences, and they have questions. And so Jamaica kind of goes through this thing of, you know, will you still love me? That's her question. Will you still love me if I want to wear a dress one day? Or will you still love me if I want to go outside and play football?
Right.
Yeah, so she
Cool.
asks various adults in her life. She asks like her dance teacher. And I tried to think of activities that boys and girls can participate in. Boys can participate in dance just as well as girls. And
Sure.
so just like one day she asked her dance teacher, you know, will you still love me if I don't wear tutu, but I still want to dance?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she even asked her mother, what if I want to be called James and not Jamaica?
Oh,
Yeah, will you still love me? So the whole question is, it's just still comes with, we're, as adults, we should love our children no matter what.
yeah.
And they're gonna have these questions. They're gonna have these questions.
I
And
definitely like that, you know,
yeah,
because sometimes kids are just curious, as you
just
say. They
curious.
just curious. They just want to know. It really ain't that deep,
It's
you know,
not that deep.
but
And
sometimes,
right. And that's what I was just trying to show. It's not that deep when it's coming from a child. You
yeah,
know, it's
we
when
make
the
it complicated.
right, I
The
just said when
adults
the
make it
adults are
complicated.
doing, yeah, when they start imposing their views specifically on you know, on that child. Children just are curious. They're curious. And then I think for me the most compelling part was when she actually goes and asks her minister
Mhm.
you know, about her different thoughts. And he just simply explains that, you know, no matter what, God loves you.
God loves you. Oh,
Yes.
that's beautiful. Do you have your books in your hand so you can
I
hold them up?
do. Okay, so here's the first day of school.
Yes,
Okay, and then we have the second one, Will You Still Love Me?
I love them.
And I want to give a shout out to my illustrator. My
Please.
illustrator is she's a friend of mine's daughter. And as she was coming up in school, she was very shy little girl. And she started drawing just different characters and different things because she kind of would take herself, you know, away from all the distractions going on. And so Angel Claiborne is actually just, she's a young lady. She just turned 21.
Oh, wow.
But we started kind of working together when she was about 18, and I think it kind of helped pull her out her shell a little bit. So now she's at Richard Bland College, William
Okay.
and Mary, and she's studying art. And so she actually did the illustrations. The second book, Jamaica Wants to Know,
Okay.
um, yeah, she did that in digital art, something that she had just picked up when she got to school.
I
But
love it.
the first book was actually her own hand drawings.
Okay.
Yeah, her own hand drawings. And so I just kind of gave her the idea of what I was thinking of, and she came up with what Jamaica would look like.
I love those books. So we're gonna take a quick book break because now we're
Okay.
thirsty. So we
Yes,
can bring
me
on
too.
our sister of the vine, Miss Stephanie Franklin of Franklin Vines. Hey, Stephanie,
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
it's great to have you back.
Absolutely. I
So
was looking forward to it.
you always have so much going on down in Texas. So where we at? What we doing?
Oh
Let's go.
God. Okay. Let me catch you up. So, I think the last time I was kind of working on, what am I going to produce? Well, first of all, Franklin Vines is the name of my wine label. I'm an up and becoming winemaker, and I'm about to plant a vineyard in East Texas. So, I haven't even posted anything about this yet, but I have my first wine in barrels. So that will be my
Beautiful.
first vintage
Good.
in 2022. I'll be launching really soon, so I'm really excited. I don't think it's set in yet. I think that I'm still like, did I really do this? Like, why can't I just drink the wine? Why do I have to be about making the wine? One plant a vineyard, like.
That's
But
women.
anyway,
We're
I don't
always
know that it's really
guessing,
set in
right?
yet. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. But that's where I am. So I'm working on my labels. I'm fighting with TABC, licensing, all of the behind the scenes work, So
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm not complaining. My journey is my journey, and I'm enjoying every step of the way.
I'm
So
so excited for you.
Yes,
thank you.
What's in the
congratulations.
barrel?
So I have Tanat. So I don't
Okay.
know if y'all heard of the grape Tanat.
I know the grape tonight.
Originated in Uruguay. I went with Tanat because it was a lesser known grape in the
Mm-hmm.
States, well known internationally, but not a lot of people are familiar with it. Actually, the winery where I'm working for now, the owner of the winery was one of the first people to champion the grape in the Texas region. So I'm
I would
like,
think
how
it would
fitting.
do well down there
Yeah,
because it's
so it
warm.
grows extremely well. So I tasted the wine a few weeks ago, and it already has a lot of character, my baby. So I'm like, I want to run all the numbers. I want to do all the testing on my wine, running the bricks, checking everything out.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I went with Tanat, and I'm excited about it. I want to do a lot of different varietals in Texas. Maybe the next one would be like an Italian varietal here, and so yeah, so
Okay.
I'm I'm in there.
I'm excited for you. Congratulations. What are you
Thank you.
drinking tonight?
So tonight I brought Chaos Theory. Uh-oh.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right. Chaos Theory. Chaos Theory is from Brown Estates. I thought it was fitting because it's Black History Month, and this is one of my favorite wines. It is a red blend of Zinfandel, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and Sangiovese. Predominant grape being Zinfandel. So they use grapes from 4 different vineyards, and to make this beautiful blend, it's a deep crimson color. It's like I really wanted to ask, how did you get the name Chaos Theory? Because to me, when I drink it, I felt like it was screaming to get out of the bottle. So it has beautiful notes, medium body, medium tannins, acidity is so balanced. You get aromas of black fruit, blackberry. You get a little spice on the palate. You get a little bit of pepper and some earthy notes. So it's very fruit forward. It's a really, really easy drinking wine. So for those of you who shy away from red wine or have a hard time finding a really good balanced wine, I think that this is one to go to. It's a really, really nice wine.
So, Stephanie, folks love to pair.
Yes.
And so they
Yes.
always want to know, what would you pair that wine with? So,
For sure. So for me, I would pair this. Gosh, I'm going to give you a wide variety. You can pair it with a nice pizza. You can pair it with pasta. You can even go with steak if you choose. Or you can simply have it alone. It tastes really, really well alone. Or you can, if you're into cheese, you can do probably like a brie. I think a nice brie with maybe some pineapple. I don't know if you had the baked brie with pineapple and take a sip of
I've
this.
never had brie with pineapple.
Oh my gosh, it is amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
Really, really amazing. Yeah. So
Wow, that's awesome. So, what can we do to support you while we're waiting with you
um
while you're running the barrel?
so I'm going to be putting out something really, really soon. I was really trying to wait until my label's ready, but I don't know, something's on my shoulder. Like, I don't know that I'll ever be 100% ready to say, hey, I'm launching soon.
Yeah.
I think for me, I just wanted everything to be perfect, everything to be in place before I'm like, this is what I'm doing. But I think I'm going to announce something really, really soon. You can follow me at on Instagram, Franklin_Vines. And right now, you can go to the website, Franklin Vines htx.com, and you can leave your email. I kind of closed down the website because we're adding so much to it, but please leave your email so I can send updates so you can have the latest and the greatest when I start releasing information. So
Well, I can't wait to get my invitation to the barrel tasting parties. That's
I'm
all
going
I
to
do
do
is put
that, and
stuff
I'm
in
going
the
to
universe.
invite you.
Yeah, I put it in the
Absolutely.
universe. So I can't wait to get my invitation.
Yes.
And pre-show, I heard our producer talking about, our executive producer talking about a wine crawl that's going to be down in Texas. So I want to be a part of that. So I can't wait. You've been on the show a few times. This may be your third or fourth, and we've
Yeah.
never met in person, but I am looking forward to
So am
actually
I.
being in the same room with you and sharing a bottle of wine. So I really
Same.
appreciate you being here. And he also said that Chaos Theory is one of his favorite wines, but he likes everything. So
So awesome. I love it. I can't wait to meet you in person as well. And thank you
yeah,
so much for your support.
it'll be stupid. Just hang out. Don't go
Absolutely.
anywhere, because we're gonna still
Absolutely.
talk to Miss Terry, Miss Sweet Tea. Because I mentioned early, I don't remember his first part in the show or when we were behind the scenes, but Terry Thomas, aka Sweet Tea, is one of my co-hosts. We have a podcast, and it is far from children's book material. That's
Yes, very
and I'm-
fun.
Okay, I want to join. I can't wait to join now.
it's
I
grown.
want
It's a grown
Yes.
folk conversation, and we both take off our mature hats, and we just girlfriends talking a bunch of trash. It's called Three Sisters Talking Smack and Listening to Music. You can find it everywhere
I love it.
there's podcasts. And our
Yes.
producer talk about he want to be a guest. Let me tell you something.
I don't know. Can he hang? I don't know.
We gonna eat them like we eat the other two.
I know.
dudes.
Yeah. Most of our
But-
male guests don't last.
Yeah, the male guests. I don't even know why they keep coming back. So it's me, Sweet Tea, and our friend Sherrod. And so we just have fun. We talk music and we talk
Talk
conversations, things we find on social media
Mhm.
or anything that pops up. And so, because Sweet Tea works very, very hard being an educator and a principal of a school, she lets her hair down on the show.
I love it.
Yes.
So, Sweet Tea, how do you go back and forth? Because when you're writing these children's books,
I know. and the thing is, I know, Big P, I've just mentioned today, I'm an actual introvert. And Benita, I am. He did the
Me
same
too.
thing. And I don't know. I think this is just the way that I do sort of like release that inner energy or whatever that I suppress all day long. And for 180 days out of a school year, it's just suppressed. But yeah, for the most part, it is a way for me to let my hair down, and I just switch back and forth. And I guess, like I said, just sometimes I stop, reflect, but I reflect through the eyes of our young people.
yes. And I do have to ask this question because I've asked several guests on this show who are authors and how the pandemic affected them. I think you're the first person on the show, Terry, who is an actual educator. And schools were one of the largest industries impacted by the pandemic. So how was that, for you as a school principal? And, these kids still have to be educated, but you kind of had to change the way that you do it.
Yes, it was, I will say it was a bit of a struggle. And I believe most of our, I'll say, low economic students were mostly impacted due to the fact that it took it longer to provide them the technology to keep up with the virtual learning. And I actually wrote a newspaper article about that. And because I saw that and I named that article The Have and the Have-Nots, because those upper middle class and higher students, they were already able to jump right into virtual learning because they had the tools at home, they had the technology at home. Most of our students, or most of the children that look like us, the most they had was a cell phone, and then at best, spotty internet access. So that also was, like I said, and I'm sure across more rural areas and all, the access to education just wasn't there, and it was lacking. And it really did take, to me, longer than it should have to equip our children with the necessary tools when they made that decision to go virtual.
Yeah.
And so, and we, like they said, we're still trying to catch up. We're
Yeah.
still trying to catch up, because if the technology wasn't already in the house and then you provided
Need a way
it,
to get it.
you had to wait to get it, then you provided it, then you didn't realize that you had parents or adults in that household that was not familiar with how to use
Yeah.
a lot of that technology. So,
And
kids
that's
are,
something we take it we take
just
it
take
for
it for granted.
granted that
Yeah.
everybody knows.
Everybody knows, of course, everyone knows how to get on Facebook and all of that sort of thing. But when
Right.
you start talking about Google Classroom and a lot of other things, a lot of people, I had to kind of catch up, with the technology that was out there, and that, a lot of our kids had to really struggle. They really struggled with it.
Yeah.
So
But you made it through.
they made it through.
Like a pro, we here. So I appreciate you. So how can folks find your books, Sweet Tea?
Right now, my books, the second book, Jamaica Wants to Know, is located through Book Logics and through their publishing company. But then they're both listed on Amazon under children's books, and in the age range of 7 to 11.
Okay. So we're gonna make sure we get copies. I'll see you at the board meeting on Monday with
Yes.
2 autographed copies to Sire. I'm gonna have my money. So have my books, girl.
All right.
So I want to thank you both for being the best part of Books and Bottles. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, you're welcome back anytime.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
Enjoyed it.
To our viewers, if we have folks out there who are authors, please feel free to email me at info@grosepROD.com. We love to have you on the show. We thank you again for tuning into Books and Bottles. Please share. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next week, cheers.
Cheers.
Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free at Indie